Scroll through your feed, turn on the news, walk through the world. What do you see, right? Everyone's chasing the same thing. Likes, trends, approval, a life that looks good on the outside, even if it's empty on the inside. They're telling you, blend in, follow the crowd, don't rock the boat. But here's the truth. God didn't make you to fit in. He made you to stand out. And the world's pressure, it's a trap to steal who you really are. It's everywhere. Wear this, say that, think this way, cancel that opinion, hide that belief. The world's got a mold and it's tightening. They say conform or you're out, agree or you're canceled, fit in or you're nothing. And people are breaking themselves to keep up, right? Changing their words, silencing their faith, trading their souls for a seat at the table. But you weren't built for their box, right? You were crafted for His purpose.
Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will."
See, God's not asking you to fit in. He's calling you to break out. Conformity's a thief. It steals your voice. It buries your calling. It dims your light. You felt it, right? That tug to stay quiet when you know the truth. That fear of being too much or not enough. That ache when you trade your convictions for applause, right? But God offers something better. He says, I made you unique. He says, I set you apart. He says, your worth isn't in their yes, it's in mine.
1 Peter 2:9 says, "But you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, God's special possession, that you may declare the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His wonderful light."
You see, that's not a suggestion. That's your identity. You're not to echo the crowd. You're here to reflect the Creator. The enemy's old trick hasn't changed. Get you to trade God's truth for man's approval. And today, it's working. People of faith are shrinking back, afraid to speak, afraid to stand, afraid to be different. But here's the cost. When you conform, you lose yourself. You lose the fire that God put in you. You lose the mission that He gave you.
Matthew 5:13 says, "You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot."
See, salt doesn't blend. It seasons. Light doesn't hide. It shines. If you bow to the world, you're not just dimming your light. You're snuffing it out. I remember the day I almost caved, right? It was a subtle conversation with friends, right? They were laughing, nodding, all agreeing on something I knew was wrong. Not evil, just shallow, empty, right? Against what I believed. I could have nodded too. I could have kept the peace, right? Stayed comfortable, right? But my spirit wouldn't let me. I spoke up, calmly but firmly. It got quiet. Yeah, I felt the stares, right? But you know what? I walked away free. Not free from them, free from me, from myself, right? Free from pretending, free from the weight of the mask, right? That's when I realized standing out doesn't just honor God. It actually saves you. The world's gonna keep pushing. Trends will shift. Crowds will shut. But you are not a follower. You are a forerunner.
Jeremiah 1:5 says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart."
You see, you're not an accident. You're not a clone. You're a child of God, handmade on purpose, for a purpose. So stop shrinking. Stop apologizing. Start standing. The world doesn't need another echo, right? It needs your voice.
Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven."
That's your call, not to fit in, but to light up. If this stirred you up, drop a comment below, right? Subscribe, because the world's loud, but truth is louder. And we're not staying quiet anymore, okay? God didn't make you to blend. He made you to shine. So rise up, speak up, be who He called you to be. Not now, not someday, today. God's got you always, and I love y'all. Peace.